Welcome back to Beyond Mortgage. I'm Dan Trinidad, and today our guest is Craig Strent. Craig's the co-founder and CEO of Apex Home Loans. Over the last 20 years, he's become experienced and extremely successful in mortgage origination, business development, marketing, public relations, and community involvement. Craig speaks nationally on mortgage origination strategies and industry trends. He's been named one of the top 200 loan originators in the country for the past 15 years and has been named among the 100 most influential mortgage executives in America. When he's not leading his company in originations, originating mortgages, he enjoys time with his family. He's a rollerblader, a roller hockey player, hiking and traveling. Welcome, Craig.
Thanks very much, Dan.
So you're out there in Maryland, right?
Yeah, Washington, D.C. market.
Washington, D.C. So maybe you could share with the audience, who I'm sure there's a lot of them familiar with you, but share with the audience a little bit about how you got into this space and a little summary of your career.
Yeah, I got in '94. It was a tough job market coming out of school, and a fraternity brother owned a mortgage company. That's it. That's the whole exciting part there. It was subprime direct mail, so I learned. I think it's a great way to learn because you have to be super persistent, and lots of follow-up, and lots of calculations and figuring out how to structure loans. So that was really helpful. And I worked there for 3 years. And in 1998, I started my own mortgage brokerage at the age of 25 with my still business partner, one of my business partners, and just had a motto that failure is not an option. We're going to figure this thing out and go. And we struggled through the liquidity crisis in '99. We struggled through obviously the foreclosure crisis in '08, and lots of ups and downs along the way to build the company we have now, which is Apex Home Loans. And we've got 10 branches, about 150 people from New Jersey to Florida.
Wow. Now, are you still a mortgage broker?
Nope. After 08, 09, when sort of things dried up and processes changed a lot and everybody was shrinking, we decided that was a good time. Always been a contrarian to go the opposite way. And we decided to have another group join our group to recapitalize and to bring in-house underwriting, compliance, closing, post-closing, all that. So we actually transitioned from broker to banker in 2010, and we've operated that way ever since.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's a completely different ball game, right?
Absolutely, it is.
So you and I talked briefly before starting the recording, but so you've been around a long time. You've been around 20 years, and you've seen different markets. What's your take on what we're in right now? So there's a lot of crisis in our country. There's disease, a pandemic. And our mortgage industry is pretty busy right now. What's your take? What are you sharing with your team, and go from there?
Gratitude. I mean, 100% gratitude. It's just, we are so fortunate to be in an industry, one, during this time where so many people are struggling and hurting and have gotten furloughed or their hours cut. We're very fortunate to be in an industry that's in heavy demand right now and that we have so much to work on. We're fortunate to be, most of us, home and safe and healthy. And, for those, it's been a very, people have been in a long time, had a lot of abundance, and really grateful for all of that. And so for me, this time is about gratitude and service. There are so many people that want to take advantage of low rates, that have seen their portfolios go all over the place, or see that the silver lining, so to speak, is rates are low, given everything that's going on. And to me, that feels like our small part of helping is doing a great job in helping people save money on their mortgage right now, or finance a new home purchase for those that are comfortable moving because they want a better space to quarantine in for themselves and for their family. So it's just been awareness about how much pain and suffering there is going on out there, gratitude about how fortunate we are to be doing what we're doing, and then service, trying to turn that into really helping the folks that want our services.
Now, how have you communicated that? I guess really it's your culture and what you want your team to be focusing on right now. And I think that's tremendous. How do you go about doing it while quarantined at home?
Well, internally, and I don't know if we're going to be on video or just on audio, but here's our core values block right here, if you can see. And
Yep.
we've had this forever. So we have core values of memorable customer experiences, community driven, Kaizen, which is continuous improvement, innovation, and efficiency, um, and we have all of these things here on the core values block. I think I hit them all: accountability, honesty, and transparency, and partnership. And those are all on the block. So I've been making videos regularly to the company that focus on the core values, what we're doing, the volume we're experiencing, what the best practices are, and sending those out to our folks to be supportive of them and remind them who we are and what we stand for.
Yeah, well, that's great. Are you having lots of Zoom meetings and getting in front of your people, or are you choosing to?
We're trying to limit the total number and keep them really short. So we use tools like Skype and Microsoft Teams and things like this. Our sales, we still have our sales meeting town hall. It's only an hour a week. It's not really mandatory. You just jump in. We give a report, best practices. But we're generally trying to keep our people not meetinged up all day long because they have so much volume to process right now.
Right. Are you guys having any types of issues with distraction? With the distractions taking place in our country right now, are you seeing a lot of your people become distracted? Is the conversation starting to be away from mortgage and more about the other stuff going on?
I think you would see a lot more of that if obviously people were physically together in the office than them being apart. It's certainly part of the conversation. We put out an internal video recently talking about the company and what we stand for and our position, and we shared that with our people internally. And we've gotten some great feedback. We've had some conversations with specific folks around the company to try to be really good, active listeners and understand their stories and how Apex might support them. So that's where we are on that. I do think that there'd be a lot more of the conversation around it, of course, if we weren't also separated.
Yeah,
and I think
that
our
helps.
industry has put out some, as an association, has put out some very nice languaging around, where the industry stands on this. And specifically, some of the things that we shared at Apex were that home ownership is really sort of the first major step to economic equality. And I reminded our people that the work we do in that area is so valuable and important given what's going on. Because once a family gets into a home, economically things get a whole lot better and more stable, historically for them. And it's just amazing that we are fortunate enough to have a hand in that.
Yeah, isn't that great? I think in 2008 we were part of the problem, and I think right now in 2020 we're part of the solution. And I couldn't agree with you more. That's our focus is staying positive, being grateful, and I try to coach people away from the news, away from social media. That to me is just a time drain of negativity. And obviously if your brain's soaked with negativity, it transfers over to how your family is treated, how you treat your health, how you treat your business, your customers see it. And so we've got I try to have constant communication out about how to remain positive, how to trick your brain into what we started off by saying is gratitude, right? If you start each day with what you appreciate and the opportunity to help people, that's the best thing you could do. Is the best start. Now, do you have so you've got 10 branches. How do you How do you manage your 10 branches, the leaders of each branch? Are you meeting with them differently than your sales force?
In a typical environment, we have 3 off-site meetings a year that involve all of the senior ops leadership as well as all of the branch managers. And we try to do those to the extent that we can in person 3 times a year. We're not doing that right now, obviously. And a lot of those meetings that are occurring, obviously, are having to occur by video. Though we're not doing as many of them now. We're doing more departmental meetings. I'm fortunate that I have 3 partners, so we all have different what we call lanes. So we're just we're managing our respective lanes and then reporting into each other.
What's your lane?
My lane is business development, marketing, internal and external global communications for the company, and training of loan officers with the tools we have.
Wow. So you started off as an originator. You started off in subprime. Uh, there's not a lot of subprime that exists today, but
No,
maybe
I
a
haven't
little
done
bit.
subprime since '99, and I still very much actively originate.
Yeah. So tell me about that. So you started off as an originator. You've grown your business. You're in the top amongst the country. Give me a a picture, a snapshot of your day. Origination. You've got loan officers, managers reporting to you, other departments. You're recruiting. Give me a snapshot of your day.
Yeah, well, I'm a member of Tim Raheem's Leadership 360 and
Oh,
Masters
are you?
program, and
Okay.
I've been a huge advocate of that for years, and a close friend of Tim's. And he taught me a long time ago about sort of setting myself right for the day, which I wasn't always doing. So I believe very strongly in a morning routine to get the day started right. Today's a great example, actually. I went hiking on a trail near my house with my two little dogs. I do that most days a week. I either hike or I'm doing some kind of exercise in my home or elsewhere if they're opened. But I do that almost every day. I take off one morning a week from it. I find that in the morning, if I get it out and I sort of eat the frog first and make the bed, then the whole day goes just 1,000 times better. So that's a big piece of it, is the right start. Um, Healthy breakfast and off and running. So from there, I try to break my day out so that I don't want to toggle between my responsibilities in loan origination and my management and ownership responsibilities. I try to break those out and group them into blocks of time so that maybe I'll do my origination and check on my pipeline and do that from 10 to noon. Then I'll take a quick break. Then I'll go into management stuff. Then I'll close that out. Then I'll come back into loan origination. So rock time, sand time, if you know what that is, with blocks of energy spaced in between and white space in between to transition in and out. So I try to manage my calendar in that way. I try not to be sitting in my Outlook all day long, just responding to email. I'll use the work offline function from time to time.
Hmm.
I use my inbox is sorted by categories, which a lot of people don't know about, which I think is weird. People don't know about that. But I use categories in my inbox so that I can immediately move an email to a category and deal with it later if I can't respond to it right away.
Rather than having 1,000 emails sitting in your inbox.
Yeah, I can't do that. I don't know if it's just a OCD thing, which I don't have, but if I can't see the bottom of the inbox in the last email, then I freeze. I can't work.
I
So
got it.
I categories really help me a lot. And I have very simple stuff, categories for marketing, categories for personal to do, read and review, things to follow up on. And I just move them into my categories, collapse the categories, and I'm good.
Yeah, I do this. I do the same thing. Did you learn that from Tim?
I didn't. I didn't learn that from Tim. I don't think. I think I just one day said, "What's this categories thing?" Most people use folders, and the problem with folders, and I use folders. The problem with folders, once you put it in the folder, you forget it's there and you never touch it again.
Right.
With categories, you can collapse them, and at least you still see them on your screen.
Exactly. Exactly. So how long did you work with Tim? Are you still part of the program?
Yeah, I went through the third class, which is class 3 and 13 or 14, and then now I transitioned into the master's program.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's the best of the best. I don't think there's anybody better, quite frankly, to learn from. I mean, he's not just I mean, he cares about you and your life as opposed to how to get from X loans to more. He's about thinking about the whole picture. I love the
Absolutely.
guy for sure.